Hey guys, welcome to another UFC Predictions. I'm your host, Brad Ween, and these are my predictions for UFC 136, Edgar versus Maynard 3. It all goes down October 8th, 2011 at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. I'm going to talk to you guys about the four main card fights and my predictions and how they're going to go down. First up, we got UFC Lightweight Championship Gray Maynard versus the champ Frankie Edgar. As the co-main event, we have up for grabs the UFC Featherweight Championship, Jose Aldo against Florian. We have Chael Sonnen versus Stann, and Melvin Guillard versus Lauzon. That right there alone is going to be four great fights, so let's get right down to it. Melvin Guillard versus Lauzon. What can you say? I personally love Melvin Guillard. He's been on a complete tear as of late. And he also reminds me of Kevin Randleman, but miniature. You know what I'm saying? Now, Lauzon, he had a little brutal loss back in November of last year. He lost against George Siderobopoulos. But he's back on the winning streak. He won against Kurt Warburton with a sick Kimura back in June. It looks like, he's back. His ground game's looking better than ever. But Melvin Guillard, this man is on a complete tear. He is unbelievable. He had a sick knockout against Evan Dunham back in January, which shocked everybody. And he recently just ran over Shane Roller back in July. So Melvin's got good, he's got good wrestling. He has a great stand-up. He's the kind of fighter who, if he fights with his heart, he ends up losing. If you guys watch the fight with him and, Joe Stevenson, they had a big feud going on, and Joe Stevenson shut him out in like the first 27 seconds of the first round. He's now training with Greg Jackson, and like I said before in all my videos, Greg Jackson has one of the best camps in the world, period. And I think Melvin's gonna be too fast. Melvin's smart, but Joe Lauzon does have a chance. If Joe gets him on the ground, he might have a chance. But I think Melvin's gonna be playing this close to heart. I think he's gonna trade with him a bit, and he's gonna stuff his takedowns. But I gotta give it to Melvin Guillard. I think he's gonna knock out Joe Lauzon in his big ears. So I give that to Melvin Guillard, second round TKO. Next up, we got the return of Chael Sonnen. You guys remember him? He was like literally like a minute and 50 seconds away from becoming the new middleweight champion back in August of last year. And now he's finally back. And this guy, he's got one of the best wrestling in all of mixed martial arts. This guy's scary, and he's not afraid to come at you, as you saw in Anderson Silva's fight. He was all over Anderson Silva in that fight. Now, he's going to have his hands full against Stann. This guy has been on a complete tear since he's joined the UFC. He had a little run-in when he lost against Krzysztof Sosinski back in his UFC debut, but with good wins over Steve Cantwell and Rodney Wallace. He had a little bump when he fought Phil Davis, but Mr. Wonderful Phil Davis, he's an incredible fighter. He had a 6 submission win. He had 2 great knockouts against 2 well-gripped fighters, Chris Lieben and recently George Santiago. Oh, he just dummied George Santiago. Now, Stann's mean. He's coming out of Greg Jackson's camp, like I said before. But I think Chael Sonnen, there's a reason why he's, he is what he is. He's like ranked number 2 in the middleweight division, and there's a reason why. He's got great wrestling, and that's going to be a benefactor in this fight. I think Chael Sonnen's going to come back to a win, and he's going to try to win everybody's hearts back again. I'm going to give a unanimous decision to Chael Sonnen. Now, UFC Featherweight Championship. Jose Aldo against Kenny Florian. This is Kenny Florian's, I think, third time fighting for the title. Tried against Shirk, tried against Phan, now he's trying against Jose Aldo. He's going to have his hands full against Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo is one of the scariest fighters I've ever seen. He has been nothing but deadly throughout his entire campaign. And back in April when he fought Mark Hominick, that was like one of the best fights I saw of the year, next to Faber and Cruz. Jose Aldo showed him that fight that he gassed. He gassed in the 5th round, and if Mark Hominick didn't have a huge hematoma on his head and gave it, I think Hominick would have walked away the champion that night by ending Jose Aldo. But Jose Aldo has got mean Muay Thai. Oh, and back in the Mark Hominick fight, Mark Hominick's got like a chin of steel. You can't knock that kid out. And Kenny Florian's gonna have his hands full. No doubt in my mind, Jose Aldo's going to be walking out the champ again. Kenny Florian, 3rd time's a charm. Not in this time, bud. Maybe you should try middleweight and gain some more weight, or drop down to bantamweight and fight Dominic Cruz. But Jose Aldo, he's going to walk away. He's just going to work him. He's going to work his legs. He's going to work his jab. He's going to utilize everything. He obviously knows how dangerous Florian is on the ground. Florian is deadly on the ground, but it won't be a factor for Jose Aldo. Kenny Florian won't even get a chance to get Jose Aldo on the ground. I think Jose Aldo is going to be the winner. I think it's going to be 1st round knockout, and Kenny Florian's going to have to go back to the drawing board. Now, main event, Edgar versus Maynard 3. These guys, what a war these guys have. Oh my God. Maynard win the first fight. The second fight, oh my God. What a fight. That was like one of the greatest fights, like I said. Now, these guys were supposed to fight a while back, and now they're finally fighting. And they both got good stand-up. They both got good ground. I have to give the speed advantage to Frankie Edgar. And I got to give the confidence factor back to Frankie Edgar. Even though Maynard does have a win. Even though I think that Maynard did win that second fight. I don't know. If it's like razor split, I would have gave it to Maynard. But I have to go with my gut. And there's a reason why. Edgar's the champ. He's got 2 victories over BJ Penn. And he's on top of the world right now in his division. And I don't see him going down. I don't see him going down to, Maynard. Even though he almost went down in the last fight. But it just shows you how great this guy is and how more versatile he's become. But I'm going to have to give it to the champ again. It's going to be Frankie Edgar. Split decision over Gray Maynard. And I think these guys are going to have a ridiculous rivalry. If Maynard pulls off the victory, it's going to be Edgar versus Maynard 4. It's like these guys will always fight each other no matter what. But my decision, Edgar, you got to give it to the champ. And that's my predictions for UFC 136. It all goes down October 8th in Houston, Texas. Be sure to check it out, guys. It's going to be great. See ya.